All right, test, test, test. Let me get the mics going and the music going. How you guys doing? Ooh, that's way too loud. There we go. That should work. What's up, RJ? What's up, guys? Things looking good. No lag. All right. The stream is intended to be used for educational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as financial advice. Even if you were to mistake this for financial advice, this is clearly an art show focused on rainbows and orcas. But hope you guys, like I said, are doing well. If you're new here, haven't seen any of this, this is the weekly whale watch. We do it every Thursday. We hang out here for about an hour, and then we head off into the Rainbow Trends Discord, and we open up the round table. Oh, I did not have that there yet. I had it, and I got rid of it. Anyway, I had a picture of the round table. We have a round table discussion with all the OGs, so a lot of guys come in and hop in after the stream, log into the Discord, and then we talk charts, we talk questions, we talk Rainbow Theory, we talk a lot of Toyotas at times. But yeah, go check us out, and if you're interested in any of the tools at any point, you can sign up first month for $10. Cancel anytime. Honestly, if it's not for you, it's not for you. The whole goal of this stuff is you should be making considerably more gains with this system. So it should be paying for itself. And I'm not going to go into specifics who gave us a shout out this week. The guys in the Discord know, but I wanted to share this bit of input from one of our OGs. Hit a huge milestone today. I made 6 figures in less than a week with these returns, all thanks to the amazing tools from Rainbow Trends. Truly life-changing stuff. Since I subscribed less than a year ago, my total trading profits is close to 7 figures. By far the best trading tools I've ever used, and I've been trading since 1996. So the goal is it's not a turnkey system. For me it is, but that's because that's what I originally wrote it for personally, so I could use it. But there's people that implement it into their own stuff, and the whole goal is to just make you guys deadlier. But moving on, if you want to check out any of our tutorials and stuff like that, it's all on the website. If you click tutorials, it'll take you to our Wikipedia page. I'm still building this one out. It's taking a little bit of time, but there's a bunch of indicator tutorials here that go in way in depth. Some people have been asking this week specifically for more information on the tools. This is where the big write-ups are. You want to find every single question on every single setting, how this stuff works. It's all here. We also have YouTube videos at the top of these, so you can see me walk through every single thing there is on these tools. And tax season's coming around. If you're looking for a discount, we have a Kraken affiliate program. But anyway, moving on. This just kind of happened while I was getting my stuff set up for this stream. Starship 8 blew up, which is crazy. And frankly, if you didn't know what that was, man, that would be crazy to see. I've seen one SpaceX launch, and it was the first one that they caught it on the chopsticks, and I actually got to see it caught on the chopsticks, and it was friggin' awesome. But seeing one blow up, that's be crazy. And I can't imagine how fast that stuff's going on re-entry. But not to be that guy, but this Elon is currently offering to bring back these guys from the International Space Station. They're supposed to be there for a few weeks, and then they had issues with the Boeing spacecraft. I believe it was Boeing. And they deemed it not safe, and now they're having to bring him back. He's offering to bring him back on the SpaceX rocket. But if those guys are up there and just watch that thing blow up, that's got to be concerning, needless to say. But before we really get going and have a really big announcement, we do these streams for free. So if you could like, comment, subscribe, interact with anything, drop a comment, it goes a long way. But the big news this week, if you thought all these executive orders were crazy, UFC's Dana White's Power Slap has signed a sponsorship with VeChain. So this is the news of the week. This is clearly the biggest thing. People are sleeping on it. People are thinking this isn't a big deal, but that's a big deal. If you can't tell I'm joking, I'm one of the biggest UFC guys ever. The only 3 things on TV I ever watch is UFC, hockey, and motocross. And I cannot understand why Dana's obsessed with the Power Slap. I think it's ridiculous, but them picking up VeChain, even better. But anyway, moving on to some serious stuff. And we have an issue. I just dropped my screen. Should be, yeah, there we go. Sorry. Shout out Stacks. He's been preaching the rainbow theory for quite a few people and getting them set up. And so shout out to all the new friendly Stacks faces who's in that group and been joining lately and signed up to Rainbow Trends. And like I said, you're in good hands with him. But if you ever need any input, hit us up in our Discord or in his Discord. Shoot me a message or come hang out in the roundtables. Stacks visits the roundtables from time to time, so Pep. And it actually gets pretty fun. Another shout out. I announced I took some profits this week. Good friend of mine, Dave. Big key part of Rainbow Trends, and it's helped me with it for years now at this point. Very badass surfer. Still a badass surfer. And as much as I love shark fishing and the beach and stuff, I've never been able to surf very well. He's finally rubbed off on me, and I picked up a surfboard this week, or it's on its way, and I'm very excited. Super excited, to be honest. And it should work for the style waves I have where I live. And we started going through some of the different boards and stuff that would work for like me as a beginner, my stats, and as well as like the waves. And I started going through some of the stuff. I was like, man, Dave, I kind of like this one too, and I think this will work. Sure enough, he's like, oh yeah, he approved on it. But he's like, by the way, that's the Bobby Quad, and I actually know that guy. I know the guy who they built the board for, so it's really cool. And so go check him out. His name's Bobby Martinez, and he's a pro, but he likes shredding on these smaller waves, which is a lot of the stuff I see. Typically, when we go shark fishing on the beach, I have to kayak, so like we don't go out when there's like 5-6 waves. We go out when there's like 1 to 2s, but occasionally it gets worse, and sometimes you just gotta go. But anyway. Moving on, and this is totally not related to crypto, but it is kind of Rainbow Trends themed. I found something this week that I thought was crazy. I didn't know Atari made all these different versions of the Atari 2600. I grew up with, my grandma's had these older style ones. We used to play them all the freaking time and had a blast. But there's a rainbow version, long rainbow dash rainbow, the Atari 2600 Junior. And the only reason I found this was I saw a video of a guy who was doing dance music off of a 2600. And I got to show you this. It's absolutely mental. He's got 2 Atari 2600s up here. And he's playing a concert. And he's using old school CRT TVs as the monitors. Like, check this out. This is crazy. Or as the speakers. I don't know. I shared. I just thought it was mental. I've been listening to his stuff. The artist's name is Atari Matt, and you can go listen to him. And I was playing some of the music earlier, but it's I just thought it was super cool, and I rarely see cool stuff that's a rainbow as well. So I got to see that, and I thought that was super cool. And maybe one day, if our buddies at Body of Light come down and visit us, maybe we can see if we can get that dude to come up, be an opener for him, because that would be absolutely sick. But while you're here, while we're talking, you guys don't seem to like my Atari post as much as my crypto posts. We're here to talk crypto. We're here to talk stocks. We're here to talk rainbow theory, whales, what they're up to, what they're doing, are they risk on, etc. It finally happened.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in?
100%, yeah. Okay. And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
I'm actually curious what those markers are.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So it happened. Apparently, Bitcoin strategic reserve is a go. Um, we'll see how it plays out legally. I'm Crypto Paradigm. Shout out Don. He's gone into it a few times and actually looked at it because it's one thing for him to sign the executive order. It's another thing for this to get through like legally. Maybe if they're not purchasing as much and just using the stuff that the U.S. government already has to prevent it from being used, maybe that's going to get us there. I don't really know. And we thought that was going to be super, super bullish. So many people were talking about it. I was kind of skeptical. I was like, man, guys, I think the ETFs are more important. And I just wasn't sure. They were adamant. Took the other side. No, the ETF is bigger. Well, we got a nuke. I was looking at the charts thinking surely my stuff was not updating right on my phone and wanted to go check it. But we had an instant sell-off. And then it seemed to sweep some of these lower time frame pivots. But you can see on the split volume indicator down here, they're buying it back up. Not really what I was expecting. Now, albeit this is low term. We've been going through a bunch of chop. I've been going through a lot of weird stuff. This sucked and had a lot of people scrambling to try to figure it out. We had this awesome range that was looking creaky, and then we had some issues with the world markets. The word tariff was said one too many times, and hold on, the music just went to something I did not want. And we kind of had some issues with this stuff because we clearly broke through. The S&P's having some struggles. But we did get a runner bot signal, which was interesting because we were looking at this and I was talking to a few of my OGs and they're like, where are we going to go? I'm like, dude, there's nothing here. There's nothing from like 88 to like 75. There's really this all-time high order block that we were messing with for the longest time when we were going through this gigantic range, right? Remember this one that we covered so many times? And I was like, there's nothing here. I don't know where this is going to bounce, but we watched some of the colors paint. We saw some rotations, and we picked up an H4 right around 83,000 when we got the runner bot signal. And if you guys don't know, I have alerts on bottoms and tops for the H4 runner bot on Bitcoin H4 and Ethereum H4, and that's how I kind of get a sense of the market, just being passively, not even having to watch it. These H4s typically hit pretty hard. That hit. You can see the hit rate's pretty damn good. And we got one down here, so I kind of like, maybe. Because if we weren't going to find any support here with pivots or previous price action, I was looking at this reversion band to get touched or this order block. And I really, really didn't want to talk about touching that order block at like 33,000. Or I'm sorry, 73,000. So it's really interesting. We took the dive and like, if you look at this wasn't the smallest move. That's 22% move on Bitcoin. And the runner bot picked it up and we got 12 on the runner bot if you got sniped top, but we still haven't got a top signal yet. I know a lot of the stuff, some of the tools that 9K makes are looking at some top calls here, but frankly, it's so weird is we clearly cut through the order block, but we didn't go down to like traditional support levels. We reverted and started reclaiming our order block, which is a hard feat to do, and you want to see it hold. Like, that's the bullish thing you want to see, but at the same time, like, the Mag 7s are bleeding right now. Like, it's the whole TradeFi market's going crazy. But we just got the strategic reserve going live, right? So there's things going on that are real interesting. And I know that's not the greatest answer, but like, you tell me what the PA is supposed to be on Bitcoin getting a US strategic reserve in these price levels after a recent all-time high. Like, we're clearly in uncharted territory, which is fun. It's great, but it's kind of interesting to see here. But for what it's worth, you are getting a trend line here. So we'll see what happens. I'll leave that line there, and we'll see if this thing keeps bumping up, and we'll go. But I'm kind of just chilling. I know a lot of volatility this week. There's been a lot of dudes posting gains in the P&Ls of the Discord. There have been some amazing shorts and longs just with the volatility. Nothing like long-term swing trading, which is kind of where I prefer. But the dudes who do the scalping have been surgeons with it, and they've been doing really well. So shout out to those dudes. Killing it in the Discord and posting their alpha. This stuff I was waiting, but we did get some paint. So I'm still watching it, obviously. But we're having so many world events right now mess with the with Bitcoin. It's not so fun. I just want to keep crushing all-time highs and going over 100K, right? Like I want to keep seeing that. Maybe we'll get another Pixa interview, but like we've pulled back 30%, which historically is something we've seen a lot back on the other cycles. It's really hard to fathom it losing the 100K. But with all these resistance order blocks, it's stuff we've hit multiple times before we finally break through it. We need time to process ranges. These like Wyckoff style distributions, they're not over a week, they're over months. Right now we are, where's the day tool? You guys know where the day tool is? Probably what we're looking at right now. There's a date measurement tool in TradingView. Where's date range? Date range is the tool. So we're 114 days into it. The previous range was this one was longer, I believe. 114. Yeah, we spent 240 days there. So we'll see. People want to cut from Jerome Powell in the Fed. TradeFi keeps going, we might get it. Moving on and taking a look at the Mayor multiple. Sorry, I'm still, if you guys don't know, I've been dealing with the flu for like 3 weeks now, but I'm getting out of it. I'm fully off the meds, but I still got kind of a lingering cough. Pushing through Mayor multiple. You know the historical colors where we like to play this game and where it typically is always normally a good investment, even if you have to go through some down draws. I wanted to keep an eye on Bitcoin here and see how far it's really going. And frankly, it's still only kind of in these yellow bands. It's not doing anything crazy. Here's where it really sucks. Obviously, that would be like 40, 60K, which we don't want to go there, but you get the idea. But with good times in bad times, apparently a new SBF interview hit, and I'm not a super big fan of Tucker. I absolutely hate this guy. He's a scammer, a LARP. He wears New Balances as a freaking costume. Shout out for him staying in jail, and I hope to God he doesn't get pardoned because I'm going to lose my mind. But with all things FTX and FTT and SBF, how are we doing, Sam? How's the price action on FTT? Why on earth anybody still offers this as a tradable asset is beyond me. It's down to $1.46 though. It did not like the interview, if we can't tell. So it's going to be not interesting. I don't care. Normally I say that, but I just don't care about FTX or FTT. And got 3 of them in jail so far. It's the Lone Ranger we're still looking for. So shout out Tribucco if you're out there. Want to talk? Maybe we can have you on stream sometime. Albeit I want you in jail, but still. Maybe you weren't involved though. Maybe, and you just saw that everything was going crazy. People were getting amped on amphetamines, and you just bailed and ran off with your yacht. Who knows? But moving on. A big thing of this chaos, if you guys haven't noticed, anytime the White House says the word tariff, markets nuke. I've been joking in the Discord for a bit. I was like, Stacks, use your AI stuff. Just build a bot that can read Trump tweets, news tweets, anything that says tariffs, other than taking tariffs away, short the hell out of the market. And what I'm really trying to say here is a lot of people don't pay attention to Bitcoin year round. A lot of people do. If you do, shout out to you. But you guys need to realize there's times where markets don't really care about news, and there's times when they really do. Right now, Bitcoin's really skittish to news events. It's really kind of pegged to the S&P because the S&P 500 is getting real skittish as well anytime the words tariffs hit. How this plays out in the long run, I don't know. But right now, the markets seem super skittish. The S&P 500 is the most overvalued it's ever been. Warren Buffett's sitting on $300-something billion in cash. Like, he has no S&P exposure anymore, unless it's changed recently. But we're moving on to some really crazy stuff. And right now, this was one I saw as well I wanted to share. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told the New York Economist Club, the first time I went to see President Trump, he looked at me and said, how do we get the debt and deficit down without killing the economy? I've been thinking about this for 18 months. And the way to do this is the transition from a public sector to a private sector, a driven economy. 25% of the GDP actually goes through the Washington, D.C. area code, which is crazy. So they're wanting to fix the problems, and you have to rip the Band-Aid off to do that. And it's going to hurt in the short term, no matter what. So long term, yes, like the deficit's out of control, spending's out of control, waste is out of control. They have to fix these things. But the problem is fixing these things is not bullish for short-term economy gains. And right now, the economy's really scared, skittish to news. And so this news is kind of interesting. Now, Zero Hedge had this post showing the old Trump tariffs on the first term, Trump tariffs 2.0, and it's like matching up perfectly, which is cool. But remember, we don't trade fractals, right? Another one. This was another post. So I'm giving you some takes on both sides of how people are taking it, how these people are looking at these tariffs and what they're doing in the government. Because I hate big spending and stuff like that too. I hate debt in life and in government. But anyway, this post shows kind of a more sour side. If it wasn't clear, Trump admin doesn't care about your stocks or your crypto right now. Their current focus is to nuke demand to slow inflation and bring down the U.S. 10-year cut government spending and jobs and stimulate real economy. So it's looking like the goal is to short-term bottom this thing in the next few months, get quantitative easing, and get this thing rocking and rolling. Pentoshi had another take, says Trump is a genius. 10-year bonds dropping, inflation slowing, market dropping. Think we discussed the possibility of a month or two ago of him forcing the Fed to take action. Stocks are being sold, bonds are being bought, mortgage rates comes down, housing market has been frozen, nothing is moving. I believe it's something like the worst home sales in 10 to 15 years. I could be wrong. Jarman, hit us up on that. That will allow for refinancing mortgages, but also refinancing U.S. debt as lower levels of bringing down costs. It's getting really interesting. He simply cares short-term pain is in markets, but they have a 100% recovery rate. But people lower their cost on debt with refinancing. The U.S. does as well. He slows inflation, gets cuts, which markets are pricing in, and the Fed will have to cut. He's just a 4D chess player. I'm stroking it right now. Haha, so good. He's so good, just stroking. Blah, 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 blah. He's making jokes both ways, but these things are playing out, and it's getting interesting. I just keep saying it's getting interesting. We've been dealing with stuff that hasn't been volatile for months. Buckle up. We're getting volatility. Private business job growth in the U.S. comes in at 77K added jobs for February versus expectations of 140,000. Lowest increase in 7 months. All right, dude. Labor might be slowing. So, how does this look in the charts? This does not look good in the charts. The S&P 500 since mid-February has been bleeding bad. A lot of the gains that we have had since like January have been completely erased. We're now really flirting with some lower lows here, which is quite concerning. I say lower lows. We want to see dips and then blast back up. Right now, we're getting below levels that we were at previously that we don't want to see. So this has been a wild ride this week, and we don't want to see the bottom blow out. And in the past, some of the previous streams, I was showing some stuff. They were talking about like, hey, when we start actually seeing weekly trends start downtrending on the S&P, it can really wake up and nuke. Like, it can really get going and show some volatility. So We're not wanting that, obviously, but you have to be cognizant of it, because the thing is, what I was telling you is, Bitcoin cares about the S&P. People call Bitcoin the king of crypto. It is the king, but the king bows to the S&P 500. It's when this thing's tanking, people want safety, and a lot of people right now don't see crypto as a safe haven asset. They want to sit gold, cash, stuff like that. And this really scares me. You're seeing stuff bleed that hasn't bled in a long time. Moving on to the DXY, similar story. The DXY has been free falling. US 10-year yields, it's been falling as well. And this is kind of a line where like Pintoshi was kind of joking about it, but like these things are really, really happening. And if you pay a bunch to the US 2 to 10 year, we're looking for the inversion. You can see what happens. These were the 2009 financial crisis. We're down here in the negatives, and it's finally flipped negative. So we have people look for this when it goes positive versus negative, the 10-year yield minus the 2-year, or the 2-year minus the 10, or vice versa. Just flip your inverses. But this is negative, and people are watching that as well, because bonds and yields are rocking right now. They're I say rocking, they're moving a lot. And if you haven't paid any attention to the Mag 7, even though I have 8 of them on here, stuff is bleeding bad, real bad. And it's kind of concerning. Microsoft just unveiled like the craziest AI quantum chip, or not AI, the craziest quantum chip ever. It doesn't care. Price going down. Google tanking. Amazon pulling back huge. Apple pulling back as well, but Apple's still in an uptrend. And I don't have all the tools on now. I'm just kind of display these a little bit. Meta's doing good, but it's got a pullback. So shout out Zuck. AMD not doing well, even though this stream is brought to you by AMD Processing. And Tesla is doing really, really bad. And we'll stop on Tesla. We'll talk back to Tesla in a little bit. But anyway, like I said, this stuff matters. Bitcoin cares about this stuff. People don't want to buy Bitcoin when these things are tanking, because when these Mag 7 are sitting there tanking, it drags the S&P, the DJI, all that stuff down with it. And it's not so good. So, like I said, my overall take, they're trying to fix a lot of stuff, but you have to rip the Band-Aid off. When you rip the Band-Aid off, it hurts for a while, right? So, I want to be bullish for the outlook, and I think we'll get there. But there's so many things happening in the worldwide right now. World Wide Web. Happening in the world right now, like you can't play dumb and just look at the 10-minute candles on Doge. Like you have to look at some of these bigger events. So let me know what you think. There's been a lot of these things dumping, and I haven't been looking at too much of it. I've mainly just been watching the S&P, and the other one, guys, honestly, like I'm watching Nvidia bleed. Nvidia for the past 2 years hasn't really bled, and it's interesting because it's finally doing like lower lows here. Kind of like the S&P, and like this is the king daddy of what's supplying all the AI futures. So if Nvidia fully reverses, like the amount of damage that can do on the stock market is insane. Just because you have to consider how much of the market cap of the S&P is just Nvidia. It's turned into just an absolute monster. But moving on, we got a lot to cover. I kind of have this sentiment, and a lot of my guys that I trust are starting to get a little sour here. But Mike Dudas, I was originally optimistic about World Liberty-Fi and personally invested. That's the Trump World Liberty Financial Fund, like him and his sons set up together, and they started buying like Ethereum, Aave, and stuff like that. They've been making deals with all these different stuff. Let me test the chat. The chat's disconnecting back and forth. But anyway, he's saying it's becoming increasingly disappointing clear it's pay-to-play skim at this point. Not that I was told it would be, but it's turning into what he thinks is a scheme. And today the Trump team announced, the Liberty team announced that they have plans to add SUI to the strategic reserve. So that's fun. I don't know about you, but like my envisioning of the Bitcoin strategic reserve was going to be Bitcoin in the United States as a focus, not altcoins. So, but here we are. That's how this is going to play out. But anyway, moving on. Let's check the coins. Trump coin is down $12 to $12, but maybe we're getting a rainbow rotation here. To be honest, though, that's damn near a yin-yang trade where it went that far into the bands and it almost touched the other side. But then they started talking tariffs again, and that's what this down draw is here too. But shout out Runnerbot. Bottom, top. Let me see how bad this was volatility-wise. That's a 43% move. Picks. This might be our new popcat to trade rainbows on. We're gonna get some basis on this. Like we don't really know Trump coin PA yet because it hasn't existed very long. It's a 2025 coin, but if we start figuring out what the paint is, and you can see the machine learning reversion bands like learning up here, we're gonna learn this coin and see how volatile it is as far as range trading. And if we get that. I mean, look at these moves. There's your bottom print right there. Took you to the wick to the top. That's 50%. This was a 40% move. You can do damage on this. These are on major exchanges now. The exception to this, I'm not so sure about Millennia Coin. It's constantly dropping off a cliff. What was this thing? It opened at like $8. And it went to 77 cents. Solana broke down when I was trying to buy it way back. So shout out the Solana team. They kept me from buying Millennia. Honestly, this looks like a color rotation that might go, but these altcoins that are like political, you saw what happened to Bowden and Trump or whatever the other one was. I'm not super interested. Let me check ETH real quick. I forgot to throw that chart up. Normally I cover it with the Bitcoin stuff. Yeah, well, we got our bounce here. So I say typically, we were watching a lot of these, and there was a lot of alts at this time right before they started talking tariffs where we actually got like a nice rotation at the bottom, and we got RSI prints on the bottom. We got HMA crosses. We had Runnerbot bottoms as well. Color rotations on the RSI, color rotations on the candles. I'm probably repeating a lot of stuff, but like layering in confluence for like rainbow theory trades. And if you can stack the confluence, your accuracy is going to go up. We preach that all the time. Stack your odds and then let it go. And we actually, if you took that bottom signal right there, it actually moved up 15%. I think Cardano went 90%. Ethereum went like 20. Solana did like a 20-30. It was pretty good. Long story short, what I'm saying is in the depths of chaos, there are trades that present themselves on rainbow trends. And on the bullish side, you're longing into pain. Like that's kind of how this thing was built. We wanted to see how far whales could drive price before the bulls say no more and they send it back up. And even if you're not going to get a long-term V bottom where this is like the macro reversal point, we're playing these bounces here. We're driving colors, we're driving RSI, we're getting little bottom prints, and then it bounce. We're driving even deeper here. Well prints, RSI bottoms, Runnerbot bottoms, and then we've got full pumps here. So you're not going to catch the bottom, but you're definitely catching these white candles. You got the bottom signal there as well. And that bad boy moved like 30%. So that's my kind of take on like trying to teach you guys how to do layering confluence. It's no indicator is perfect, but if you've got all of them kind of pointing in the same direction, saying, "Hey, this likely is going to mean revert," play it. But play it safely, right? There's a lot of like I buy white candles and like I'm not scared about it at all, but a lot of people have to break that habit. It's just hard. There's just no way around it. You're buying when people are crying, and normally when they're crying, they're capitulating. So it's well theoried. It's the way the whale games go, but it's how it goes. Moving on, so we're at the little past the halfway point here. Again, shout out to all those called in, logged in, watched in. If you like, comment, subscribe. It go a long way. We're trying to get the YouTube channel up. We just broke 420 subscribers, so shout out that. And shout out Pixis Project. Coinbase looking to release tokenized coin. So maybe your boy Paul Grewal, I say your boy, I'm the fan. I'm the Paul super fan. No one's going to take that away. Maybe we'll get Paul on here one time. My buddy who may or may not work alongside that group maybe gets me an interview one day with him. It'd be cool. Be cool to have him on. I'm a big fan. But anyway, Coinbase is apparently going to tokenize their stock, which is going to be fun. We got a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Is this bullish? No. Coinbase doesn't look good right now. These are the old trades. I leave these annotations up in case people want to see the old stuff, but we can reference it accordingly. But we did a bunch of scalps here because it was so damn volatile, and then it just kept trucking up here, and I didn't want to touch it anymore. People were like messaging me at like 3:11. They're like, "You need to buy so much coin right now," and now it's bleeding bad. But it's down 40%. Coinbase. This is a huge company, huge stock. And I'm a big Coinbase fan because a lot of the legal stuff that we got pushed through these past few years has really been on their backs, them and like Kraken. So shout out those dudes. But if you look, we're pushing into the reversion bands with whites. RSI has stopped. The HMA is starting to cross. I love the HMA karate chop. Shout out Blake. I like rainbow reversals. I like tops and bottoms. Runner bot prints. This is either going to pop a little bit and then continue, or we're looking at a potential like V bottom. You saw in the previous one, we were looking at Solana. It had like a bounce. It pulled up a little bit above the reversion bands, went deeper, and then it finally popped pretty damn hard. We don't often get white candles in reversion bands on Rainbow Theory with Coinbase. You have to check your asset. Doge doesn't move like this. Litecoin doesn't move like Ethereum. But we got white candles here. It was a 30% bounce. We got the real white candle bottom here, and it rallied 130%. So I'm trying to assess, is this really a bottom? Like, look, like those were the two. Where's some other white candles? But prior to those, we didn't get white candles until May of 2023. Previous markets down here at like November of 2022. What I'm saying is, don't sleep on this. You don't have to long it. You don't have to short it. Because remember, this is an art stream. You need to pay attention. It's setting up. How it plays, we can't really predict. But what we can tell you is there's potentially an entry here, and there's potentially a place you can stop loss this stuff and expose your risk for a potential upside. Now, stocks are bleeding. It's just about everything is. This may continue to bleed. Mind you, the reversion bands are flat. Volume is not here yet. We are not seeing people buy into this heavy. Just not. They're selling into it still. And remember, Coinbase it kind of moves. It moves faster than. It kind of acts like a crypto chart. It doesn't look like a TradeFi stock. I don't know how to explain it, but there's like 3 TradeFi stocks to me that trade like crypto: Carvana, Tesla, and Coinbase. Just keep that in mind. Like when you do back testing and stuff like that, these actually act like crypto. A lot of the crypto bots that I write, they can't trade TradeFi at all. I've got some stuff that has like 95% win rates. They can't do anything with TradeFi. A lot of it's the way the markets are timed because the TradeFi stuff does turn off, but either way. But as I was talking bleeding, Coinbase, pay attention, set your alerts, put an alert below it, put an alert above it, watch the hell out of this. And it only trades during the daytime, Monday through Friday. So you can pay attention to this and get some insight. But it's I hate saying it's getting interesting, it's getting time. What I'm saying is you have an opportunity to get exposure to risk here that can really do some damage. And it's a rare opportunity. We do not see white candles in the reversion bands on Coinbase very often at all. So don't hindsight this and get mad at me. Watch it now. Take your assumptions. See what's going on. The HMA is currently crossing the current H4 candle. Tomorrow will cross unless the price nukes, but we'll see. Honestly, the Bitcoin Reserve may pump test that tomorrow. Coinbase tomorrow. Moving on, because we have like 19 minutes and I got like 10 slides left. The other rare one, Tesla, is not doing so good here. Tesla in particular is bleeding hard. So you have to ask yourself, is this bottomed? I don't know, but I can tell you it's finding a bottom. And the key is if we find it. So far, volume's not here. HMA is not crossed. We are still bleeding continuous whites. RSI has not rotated, albeit RSI has gone from green to cyan to kind of rotating back to green. Don't sleep on this one. This is the same thing with Coinbase. You have a potential here for a very, very rare setup. Yeah, but you have to be careful because everything's bleeding right now. Stuff can sit there and bounce and keep going and then really go, right? Or Tesla's going to go to zero and electric cars suck, right? Something like that. I mean, the rocket just exploded. It's like, that'll I say their rocket, but they're tied. The thing is here, look. Very rare do we see these white candles in the reversion bands. Big bounce. Here, some more dollar drowns, and then it finally bounced, right? You're getting the point of like how I'm saying this is these things are oversold and eventually they get bought back into the ranges. This was the huge one that we had the other day. Not the other day. We had this back in 2022, and I remember trading it because this is when they were literally like the news turned on Elon and was talking about how he's like the worst thing ever. And you can see we had reverse band bounce, and then we kind of had multiple bounce before we went full-blown capitulation. This actually made like almost to the freaking orange bands, which is like unheard of on TradeFi stuff. And then it fully rallied. So really watch those white candles. Watch your RSIs. Watch all of it, right? It's setting up. Could it bleed more? It can, but we are looking for that reversion because if you can find your entry with risk adjusted, you're looking at potential big moves that you could do a lot of damage. From that complete capitulation, Tesla bounced 113%. We went from white candles in the red bands to pink candles in the green bands. Full yin-yang setup. So, like I said, it's hard. It's against your emotions. But watch this. It's setting. It's either going to find its bottom on these pivots here. Like also, yeah, like don't sleep on the pivots. Don't sleep on any of this. We've been bored for a very long time. We have volatility now. It's time to play, is in short what I'm trying to say. But we have this order block here. Hit it. Or maybe the other option. You got to do, am I right or am I wrong? How do I play both sides? If you're wrong, this is going to get stopped out. And you're going to keep finding resistance at some point. Maybe it's in here. And then we could try to get that 100% move up. Would be super, super sweet. Because even if we did like a move here, that's 60. We have to come up like 370, but maybe not going to get 100. We're definitely not that deep. If the comparison to the one that completely V-bottomed, we would be right now like 200 to do that. You would have to be super, super deep into these reversion bands. And I'll tell you this, if we hit Tesla at 200, I will buy a ton of it. Maybe a Cybertruck, right? Anywho. Moving on. There's been additional hacks. I don't know what the F happened. I have 2FA, password manager, strong password, etc. It will obviously well-designed and targeted. Sorry to anyone who lost funds. The space is hiring. Bad stuff's happening. People are getting hacked. I don't know how they're really getting past the Google 2FA. That's very, very concerning. But I'm curious what you guys are using as far as password protections. And I'm curious if you guys are using physical 2FA. A lot of people are recommending Yubico, the YubiKeys. And I'm curious what you guys recommend or what you use. Let me know in the chat. Check out this stuff. It's kind of cool. These little keys is like your 2FA. So it's kind of like a cold wallet, but it's for like your two-factor authentication, and you get to plug it into your computer, your phone, or whatever. And if that's there, that's your 2FA handshake. So if someone hacks your Google account, which has happened to quite a few of my friends this past 2 years, which is scary as shit, two-factor authentication protected ones as well, this is something maybe worth looking at. Because remember, it's in crypto, there's a lot of really badass traders that take complete losses over hacks. I consider taking a hack a lost trade. Like, protect your assets, protect your butts. I always tell people, like, imagine your house burned down tomorrow while you weren't there. If you came back to your house burned down, is your crypto that's been in cold storage for 10 years, 5 years, whatever, can you get access to it? Ask yourself that. And you damn sure better not tell me, oh yeah, I have it screenshotted on my phone. They search screenshots on phones now that are hacked for seed key phrases. Keep that in mind. You think you have it in a locked folder. Even the Google locked folders and stuff have been compromised. So don't say it's in your phone, but maybe you've got half of your seed phrase at your best friend's house, and maybe you put another half of your seed phrase at your girlfriend's house, something like that. And maybe keep spreading it to another house. They all burn down in the same town, right? Maybe you mail your uncle in another state half of it, something like that. Long story short, spread it out, right? Think of how you can always lose. Like, put it on paper. How can I get to a corner that I can't get out of? And make sure you put stuff in place to get out of that corner. They make seed phrase keys that you can etch into carbon steel, and the carbon steel can survive a fire. Aluminum can't, but carbon steel can. Certain grades of carbon steel. There's that option. And then there's, the other thing you could do is you could make multiple hard wallets, clone them. You could have 10 ledgers with the same clone and go put them in your girlfriend's house, your uncle's and stuff like that. Just don't tell them the key to get it open, right? Then you're somewhat protected. Because if you put the wrong pass number into those ledgers and stuff, they'll wipe themselves out and delete themselves. So you either know it or you don't. Moving on to even some better news, taxes are due next month. So if you haven't started stacking your cash, or if you hadn't stacked your cash through your gains last year, it's coming. But with bad news, I like to bring good news. The IRS is drafting a plan to fire half of its 90,000 personal staff. How on earth this isn't automated? How on earth? I just, if I do my taxes wrong, they come to me and they tell me exactly how I did them wrong and what the number should be. Just tell me the number, and then I'll argue it if I think they're wrong. But man, our taxes, it takes so long to do, and it's such a pain. But anyway, the IRS, they're going to be cutting half the staff. Maybe this stuff gets easier. Hopefully they quit beating up on the crypto bros. We'll see. Moving on, Scottie Pippen's apparently using AI to make crypto propaganda. They want your Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Scottie Pippen. This is the market we're in. But remember, he's the Game 5 ball guy. So we'll see. What's the volume? So the Game 5 ball is a real world asset on chain. He's the custodian of the ball. And right now the market cap's 2.4 million. So maybe that actual Game 5 ball he has in his house is worth 2 million. I don't know. But price has seen better days. These are volumes of $2,000. It's the 24-hour volume. Scottie Pippen's got $1 million of this coin and he can't sell it. Wow, look at this pump moving up. 100K volumes. Now distribution. This is the art of a pump and dump with like legit whales. Pump and then sell into the people as they slowly capitulate. But anyway, moving on. Scotty, you're right. Don't sell your Bitcoin, but do sell your Game 5 ball. Back to worldwide events. Trump halts all U.S. military to Ukraine, demanding the Ukrainian leaders show good faith, commitment to peace following a tense Oval Office exchange. Trump was essentially ready to sign the mineral rights deal, which was going to get basically Ukraine a way to get basically U.S. protections in a backwards kind of way that doesn't upset everybody. That meeting went real weird. Bad. You pick your side, whatever. I hate war. But it looked like that. Well, we know it went south, and now he's really pulling the cards here. So I hope it looks like Europe's kind of standing up, which is good, but wars are ended at a table with both sides at the table talking, and that's going to have to happen. And I hope we're getting there soon. As much as we don't like Russia, right? Like that's what everyone says. At the end of the day, it's parents burying their kids, right? And I can't stand that. And it shouldn't happen. You're attacking your neighbors, right? So I'm really hoping this comes to an end this year. God, I hope it does. Like I said, I've said it for years. I hate war. I really, really do. I like the technology and stuff because I'm like an engineering nut, but I don't like burying children. I say children. You got 20, 30-year-olds dying on the field. It's that's somebody's kid, right? Someone raised that kid from a baby, gave them milk, wiped their butts, taught them how to walk, taught them how to ride a bike. They're going to go die in a war that just makes no sense. It's just tragic. Anywho, U.S. oil pulling down as well. I know oil's not directly a Ukraine thing, but when we look at like world conflicts and stuff, I typically look at like what oil's doing. Oil is actually looking like it's at a traditional bottom, but if it's not, we're talking less than 60,000, your boy subsea engineer here is going to have some fun work in my bodies of water if this thing keeps going down. If you don't know, a lot of the oil field industry, like you guys have no idea what the scale is. A lot of times there's 50,000 horsepower worth of diesel engines keeping a floating city on position with over 200 people on board, just so we can get oil out of the ground in like 9,000 feet of water. Big boy stuff. All those type of projects are tracked off this price. There is a price where that field breaks even. We've got this much technology, we got these many people on payroll, stuff like that, and they'll flat out say, hey, at $60 a barrel, it's not worth it anymore. At $50 a barrel, it's not worth it anymore. So like this will capitulate a lot of the oil field industry and hurt your big oil stuff. You can like oil, you can hate oil, maybe you drive a Tesla or whatever. A lot of the world needs carbon fuels right now, so it's likely going to be that way for a while. So I care about it, but frankly, I support kind of the side of the oil field right now where I help out with like oil spills and containment and stuff like that. So I'm kind of on the cleaner side of it now, more than when I used to be more on the production side. The other thing I'm looking at now is gold. Gold has been on a tear. This actually looks like the old orange juice chart that Hot Pins used to trade before he moved to cocoa, and now he's a gamma trader now. So shout out Pins, my wrestling OG. But I mean, this looks crazy. It's only 13%. If you can't tell, I have the main indicator settings cranked way up here. This is the exponential color shift. You can really get some tuning here. Gold doesn't move very fast, so you have to turn these settings down to get these cranked up so you can actually get a read on the numbers, or the read on the pain. Frankly, though, it hit an all-time high, sweeped it, and now it's kind of pulling back. So maybe gold's going to be pulling back down. And if we're talking gold, we can't ignore dime or Huck or Hugo. Silver is actually kind of looking like a top. He's actually telling me this week, Dime was sending me charts, rainbow charts, of saying, hey, your tools are saying I'm screwed. I'm like, well, you are bouncing a lower low on a clear order block of like $32. So we shall see. But we're at the end of the stream. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to go head to the Rainbow Trends Discord in a few minutes. I got to go take a bathroom break, but definitely go check us out at the roundtable. It's all in the Discord. If you need to find it, check us out at rainbow-trends.com. Thanks again. We will see you guys. We should be here next week, but it's going to be spring break, I think. We'll see. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Much love.